नमस्कार, मैं हूँ बॉबी और स्वागत है आपका हील योर लाइफ में। आज हमारे साथ जो गेस्ट है, इनकी जर्नी काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग रही है बिकॉज़ हर प्रोफेशनल जर्नी स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम फिल्म मेकिंग। ये एडवर्टाइजमेंट में थी और शी हैज़ हेल्ड अ पोजीशन ऑफ वाइस प्रेसिडेंट इन एन एमएनसी कंपनी इन बैंगलोर। और ये सब करते कराते ये आज एक स्पिरिचुअल हीलर हैं। मंत्रा मिस्टिक कहते हैं। ये क्या टर्म है, इनसे जानेंगे बातचीत करते हुए। बट पहले जानेंगे कि इनकी जर्नी, मतलब एक कहीं से शुरू करके कहीं तक पहुंचना, टू डिफरेंट पाथ। मतलब एक्चुअली तो ये सेम पाथ ही है, रेगुलर लाइफ में हम चलते रहते हैं। और स्पिरिचुअलिटी आजकल हमने बहुत ही बड़ा इसको बना दिया है कि स्पिरिचुअल होने के लिए एक अलग ही डायरेक्शन में जाना पड़ेगा। आप डेली लाइफ में जो कर रहे हो वो नहीं करके आपको कुछ और ही करना पड़ेगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। ठीक है, आप अपने रेगुलर चोर्स भी कर रहे हैं, रेगुलर लाइफ जी रहे हैं, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी निभा रहे हैं, फिर भी आप स्पिरिचुअलिटी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं। कैसे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं? बहुत लोग प्रैक्टिस कर भी रहे हैं बट दे आर जस्ट अनअवेयर दैट दे आर ऑलरेडी इन द स्पिरिचुअल जर्नीज। तो पहले तो शुरू करते हैं इनकी जर्नी के बारे में जानकर। तो आज हमारे साथ है मुक्ता मयूरी। आइए इनका स्वागत करते हैं। स्वागत है आपका मयूरी जी हमारे शो पर। और बहुत खुश हूँ मैं आपको इस प्रोग्राम में आप आए, आपका वक्त निकाला आपने। तो पहले तो हम शुरू करेंगे आपकी जर्नी के साथ। कहाँ से, लाइक एमएनसी से, एडवर्टाइजिंग से, फिल्म मेकिंग से एकदम से स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी में कब और कहाँ शुरू हुई है आपकी ये जर्नी?
Thank you, Bobby, for having me here. It's a pleasure being here. So, it's a very big question to answer, but I'll try my best to break it down in phases. Um, Actually, journey I think तभी शुरू हो गई थी जब मेरा जन्म हो गया था. Because I was very lucky to be born in a devout family. My father being a principal of college and very religious, spiritual person. My mother also being a lecturer, being in the fold of Ramakrishna Ashram. So it was a very natural environment for me where I could feel the vibrations of something supernatural, you can call it, which is very natural for all of us.
Okay.
In a sense. And so I had this equation with my own gods, my favorite Ganesha, my favorite Kalima. So I had this my personal relationship till the time I was about 7 or 8, as far as I remember. After which I started getting into Sanskrita Veda school. So from there on, the path kind of getting unfolded in real practice way. And Sri Ramakrishna Ashrama has been very influential in my life.
Okay.
I don't know whether you know much about it, just
Yes,
briefly to say so. He's not only a master, but he's also a guru of Sri Vivekananda, who went to Chicago and introduced yoga, Vedas, etc. to the entire world audience. And his journey is so humble and full of experiences that it almost compels you to look within and search who you are. So from there on, it went till about 13, 14. Then I had another intersection with another master. I've always had yogic masters from astral world who were guiding me. The second one being Yogananda Paramahamsa.
And how old were you then?
13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite early.
Yeah. So I remember the pining I had for realization of God, or the realization of this entity of this another world, who are very, very real. So it was so experiential that I did not look at it as any modality, or it is not something that I had to share it with other people, like, oh look, I'm spiritual, hey look, I'm doing some experiential experiment. It was very, very private. So I had lots of ups and downs after that, some incidents happened in the mystical world. There was also an extortion, spiritual extortion by some fake gurus as well.
Okay.
And it was early on, which also I came to terms with as a part of the world. Uh, the real hallmark was to integrate the teachings of spirituality without any embitterment. So, challenges are a part and parcel of this journey.
Okay.
They're not devoid of it, right?
So it was like simultaneously happening. You're professional, like as you were in filmmaking and advertisement and MNC also. So it's simultaneously happening together.
Yeah, so I embarked on the journey of journalism after I finished my study of Sanskrit honors. So by then already I had 15 years of experience with this whole bubble world dimension I was living in, a spiritual world per se. I had to integrate that with my normal life.
Okay.
So that's how the extension of journalism happened, mass communication, advertising, all of this kept me going. But the momentum of something which is seeking from within was always there. So I kept this interesting search in the name of anything that could come by as an experience. So it was not relegated to what I'm doing right now at all. Nothing about mantras, but it because I already had rich understanding of Vedas and Sanskrita already. I was like, can I know something more? So I did everything you can think of: PLR, crystal healing, Reiki, Pranic healing, everything, and all of them worked.
Okay.
All of them worked very well. But it's only in about 2016 I had a huge breakdown in my life. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I would say it put me upside down.
Oh.
And that was the beginning of bearing myself to the universe, literally. And that's when the mystical experiences took me over. It was at that time when I had enough experiences to be counted as an experience without any influence of my knowledge.
Okay.
You know, so analytical mind always looks for connection between what we know as a learning from the other person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And our own experience, which is born within. So I was very analytical about it, and that's when this synchronicity happened, where I had this amazing mystical moment.
That's what was my next question. Like we would like it's a very interesting word for a layman.
Yeah.
Mantra mystic. What is it all about?
Okay, it's simply put a way of life which is governed by the understanding of sound. And when we treat sound as a vibration, it becomes more than what we perceive sound as sound, because here the sound is also silence. And mantras per se has a definition. It's called mananat trayate iti mantraha. The one which liberates you from mind also has another meaning. Mananat trayate means by repetition what liberates you.
Okay.
So Sanskrita itself is spiritual. We have to, when we go back to its origin, we go into the energetics of the sound. So mantra mystic or mantra mysticism or mantra yoga is about being mindful of this one dimension of sound. And by dimension of sound, you automatically come in contact with this dimension of sky, ether. Then you come in contact with the dimension of air. then you come in contact with your own breath. So we are bringing ourselves closer home to unravel this tool called human body. So it's nothing but finding yourself through the help of something that you're born with.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. So when like you're healing people or holding workshop session, how does it work with people when you're helping people with mantra mystic or this entire process? How does it work?
So if I can take the liberty of explaining one more concept as to
Sure.
why, how does this entire format sit itself? What is my role in it? You know, how do I dish it out to people?
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah. Like
My experience as a spiritual practitioner is that I'm a practitioner. As long as we are practicing, as long as we are in this love affair with ourselves, we are curious.
Yeah.
Right? When we are curious, we are open. When we are open, we are not inflexible. And that is the hallmark of spiritual evolution from the Vedic point of view, from any authentic source of self-realization. There is a heavy reliance upon the concepts that have already been given as Shastras, Upanishads, Vedas, Shlokas, mantras. So my confidence comes not from my own experiments alone.
Yeah.
They come from the fact that from time immemorial, there have been sages who are called seers, right? Seers means the one who sees.
Yeah.
Right? The one who sees not from the physical eye alone, but the one who sees in the deep space of meditation, overshadowing the principles of what we define as tangible, understandable, physical, mundane, what comes to the concept of the mind. So in literal sense, they have been transcendental in their perception, and they have had the art of passing this on also in an encoded language.
Okay.
And they are what are Upanishads, Vedas, Stotras, etc. So it's like a absolute, you know. What I mean by absolute is whoever comes to this sea with whatever readiness, they see that. So if somebody says, okay, this is about knowledge, this is about finite wisdom in the grammatical syntax, which I want to appreciate the beauty of art and culture, you'll have your answers. If you want to follow it as, some footsteps given by these people to be followed, which okay, can happen. But if you're wanting to match your experiments, your understanding with the experiments and understanding given as a guidance,
Okay.
just to check with yourself, am I hallucinating or am I on the right path? Is it too much for my senses to conceptualize, to understand and digest what I'm going through? Oh, wow, there is a beacon of light which says, yes, this happens. So it serves also that purpose.
Okay.
So my point is that I do not want to define anything as this is it. Because the moment we say this is it, it stops the journey. It becomes so
Like we're done learning, kind of.
foreclosed,
Yeah.
that it doesn't give the permission for people to go beyond it. The dichotomy exists in our today's world.
Yeah.
In Zen, there is a beautiful quote, by Osho also in one of the books. And I remember turning the leaves of the pages actually of that book, and I just stopped at that one line, which I want to kind of paraphrase. It's not exactly a quote. It says Zen masters rarely spoke, because the moment they say something, they know they have committed all perversions of that particular statement. So, to overcome that, they give certain guideposts, but that is also with a very labored, careful execution.
Yeah.
A spelt out wisdom already has an ambivalence or has the risk of being misinterpreted. But if it is interpreted right, with a presence, then it can serve as a beautiful amalgamation of an inner exploration, ever expansive, evolving, and also contributing to everything that you touch, feel.
True.
As a human being, as a sensorial being, as a multidimensional being, or as a normal species which is partaking in this universe. So this is my intention, that while it is defined as mantra yoga, it includes the interdisciplinary aspect of spirituality, of light, of pulsation, of electricity, of magnetism, of immunobiology, of quantum entanglement, of crystals, of dreams, of teleportation, whatever it is. It has to tally back into a full essence of who we are. It's not in isolation. No true authentic science is in isolation. No authentic truth is in isolation. So this is what I endeavor to do in my modality, which is defined as mantra yoga, but I carefully define it with a lot of exceptions. And I take them on the ride and then slowly introduce them into the structure of it.
So it's a longer procedure. Like if you, like somebody comes to you to get help or, get into this journey of mantras, mystic. So it's like a long journey. It's not a session-based thing. It's not a workshop. How does it work? That's what I was asking.
Yeah. In terms of the format. So I keep myself very flexible on this.
Yeah.
There are one-on-one sessions where a person comes with a special request of his own soul. It could be that I'm going through some deep dark times. It could be something that they already know. It could be depression, it could be mental health issue, it could be a breakup, it could be very tangible things as well. And how does this particular intervention of mantra yoga can help them is my responsibility to explain to them. So they are also under one-on-one sessions. The other format is that of workshops, where it's more of integration of knowledge, as well as experiments with the modality. So there is a responsibility of learning what it is. That means they're already on that step of knowing, I want this stream of knowledge for myself, not to overcome any issues per se, but to deepen my sense of self, to deepen my sense of freedom in my inner self, right?
Yeah.
So for that, the workshops exist. And the third format that I do is retreats, which is one of my favorites. And that allows me to give a dip of the divine.
Okay.
for people.
And how does that
How does it
gets
work?
designed? How does that work?
So it's very personal, and it's in the moment. Actually, we choose places of power.
Oh,
Yeah. So India is the center of many, many, many unexplored places of Shakti. Shakti means power.
yes, absolutely.
And how do we harness this? One is to know that there is Shakti, but the other one is to harness it. And this is a process that we co-journey together by taking them along the journey, where the journey itself teaches us a lesson. Every interaction of the journey, it could be a bus journey, it could be a train journey, it could be an airplane journey. Everything that we interact with is an observation serving the purpose of that final truth that we are there to discover. So it's not disintegrated and disengaged. We go to the place of power and we serve ourselves and we do this process, and then we become spiritual. Your journey began with this intention of going there. So every little interaction, you become like an observer, like a child. And this is beautiful because this allows us to break out of the format of what we know as curriculum. You know, so these are the main three areas that I do at the moment, and I do it in different places of power for the third format. And increasingly now I'm being asked to incorporate other forms as well, because I'm a dancer and I'm a musician as well. So I'm trying to give more formats for different type of audiences. It could be women specific programs, or it could be healing for certain asks. It could be like how do we integrate heartbreak.
Okay. How do we do that?
How do we do that? So heartbreak helps us to visit one part, which is heart. Self-explanatory. Yeah? And just with the terminology itself, we go back to what our heart is. What are the narratives that we are told, we believe in, we subscribe to? What are the things that have to? Are they really have to? Or are they the things that are handed over to us as a culture?
Conditioning.
Yes. Conditioning being a byproduct.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
And there is different type of conditioning that is existing. Our ancestors, our parents were a part of different kind of conditioning. Nowadays, what people are going through, the younger generation, what they're going through is a different conditioning. What we went through was a different conditioning. But the truth lies somewhere beyond all of this. Right? So how do we navigate back to the final truth, which we kind of know, but we are not able to get back? Right. So return to innocence, return to the self, return to who we are, return to the power. And there are certain practices, So some of the practices which help us ground back into the heart is honoring ourselves as people who are visiting this planet. If I know that this is a show that is going to end and I'm going to go back home, I'm going to treat this as a particular episode in my day period.
Yeah, true.
But if I believe that this is my life, then I'm making a cage for myself.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So just a shift of this perspective, which cannot come from an advice. It cannot come. It has to come from a resonance. And when that resonance happens is when you are in that position, when you're going through that grueling experience, and this truth says, okay, darling, now you can hear me because you're in a position to listen to me. Then there is a beautiful magnetism. And this is the reason why we look at the challenges as lessons.
Exactly. Yeah, they are.
Isn't
actually,
it?
Yeah.
And they help us put ourselves back into something bigger than who we thought we were. And if you're able to overcome that challenge, we also have the responsibility of walking towards higher truth. If you forget, then depending upon the other concept we haven't spoken about, karma, samskaras, etc., you have assigned, I have assigned a role for my life, what I am qualified to go through.
So correct.
Right? So it's again becoming a curriculum of the soul for a particular episode called life. So long is the journey, so long does this entire up and down, ebb and flow take place. So after certain undulations, you achieve a sense of stillness. And that stillness gives a taste of bliss, a taste of eternity, a taste of godliness.
Right.
And once we enter into that space, things appear differently.
Nice. One more thing I would like, you've been dealing with so many people, and it's been such a long journey of your coaching people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we talk about now, right, like the time now after COVID or after so many things happening, people
Yes.
going through emotional stress and losing things and stuff, what are you coming across, like your client, I'm using that word. So what is the common problem that people are facing? What kind of problem they come with, to get help from you?
So during the period of COVID, it was different.
Yeah.
Now, post COVID, I am even ever more convinced of the chuckle of the universe, the humor of the universe, is that we have a very short term memory.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is we are extremely adaptable. We are so adaptable that we can go through the biggest challenge of the lifetime of the humanity at this time. And tomorrow, when we have surmounted that challenge, we remember it as a dream.
Yeah, that's true.
So, from that perspective, nothing has changed.
Yeah, but still, people do come with problems, right? They have a problem, they have an agenda for coming for a session or workshop. So, yeah, I like getting clear with the question more, like what is the problem that people state more often in today's world?
So, it's again fallen into the three big buckets, if I can put it so.
Okay.
Health, heartbreak, success. So if these three are taken care of, then very few people come with a fourth ask, which is my important ask, love, desire, passion. Is to say, what next? I have all these three. I have an inquiry for something bigger, for something larger. So it is not to serve any purpose which is going to give a recognition, which is not going to tick any box of fulfillment, gratification, but something blossoms within.
Yeah, I can relate to so much.
Yes. So this is the process of evolution. There are people even in this quadrant, but the three pre-described quadrants are like they're looking for some assistance to kind of balance themselves. But the moment they regain balance is, okay, I'm back to the trampoline, and I fall back again, I'll contact you. So it's okay, I'm happy to help in that, but I do take the responsibility of informing people of this, that there is something larger beyond what you are looking to fix.
Yeah.
If I may say so.
Yeah. So that's what, like, people are lacking of awareness. That's the reason they get lost. Like, there are people in search of something more, but they don't know what it is.
I mean, I also include myself when I say this, because as a humanity, we are a shared collective consciousness. Collective consciousness helps you, or helps me, helps oneself to see everything as an experience. And it makes us more responsible.
Yeah, of course it does.
There's who said this? I don't want to quote the wrong person, but
You could just use the quote.
Yes, it's by some beautiful master of life, who says you're not truly liberated till everybody's liberated.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it means it sociologically, physically, at the very practical level, it means that if you have reached a space of something better, being in a better place than you were, and somebody else is in that position where you were before, and you don't have the empathy to help that person, you really are not free.
Sure. Yeah.
At the second level, as a consciousness, we're one. You know, it's almost like artificial intelligence creating itself as another person. So it's Mayuri for Mayuri, becoming Bobby, interviewing Mayuri. So for Bobby, it's Bobby becoming Mayuri to interview for Bobby. You know, so it's wonderful when we even hit the base of this beautiful culmination of possibility of being one. It shows us that, wow, what am I fighting with? Who am I fighting with? I'm fighting with myself.
Yeah, more people are doing that.
Yes. So that means I'm doing this. Right?
Yeah.
So this gives us more sense of action, less sense of complaint, and spiritually beautiful surrender, and ego becomes such a pleasure.
Ego becomes pleasure.
Ego becomes such a pleasure. Ego, please stop me when I'm just shooting. Okay, this is like,
it's okay.
We can keep going. Ego is, what is it? Ego is a sense of separation of the entire wholesomeness to serve and appreciate its own beauty. Krishna, Sri Krishna, who is considered an incarnation, was so overtaken by his own beauty that he created another creature called Radha.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And Radha, he was so overcome by this emotion that how can Radha experience this love, and I want to experience this as how she experiences. Bhagavan Chaitanya was born. So at that level, this sense of inquiry, projection, playfulness exists. So ego becomes a pleasure when we understand the separation is there, but it is to serve the purpose of wholesomeness.
Beautiful.
Ego becomes a problem when we try to say, I am more, you are less.
Yes.
Right? But when people say, oh, ego is bad, what they're trying to say is a version of ego that they digested is bad.
Okay.
Yeah? Because without ego, you see, I bat an eyelid, I'm egoistic then. Because if I don't have an ego, why would I bat my eyelid? Or my organs are serving some role for my body. I can't say, oh, I'm so empathetic towards somebody who is having, say, some problem. Can I stop my functioning? I can't. This is also ego. Ego is ahankara. Yeah, aham means I am. So when did I am become so bad? Isn't it? So if I'm so full, if I'm overflowing, my overflow has to touch another being, another species, or the nature around what I am a part of to become like who I am. If I fill myself with the garbage, what I overflow will be garbage. Then it becomes a problem. So, from that particular point of view, everything that we are told this is bad, this is wrong, has to be questioned with the right sense of mind.
So, मयूरी जी,
Yes.
हम जानना चाहेंगे आपकी डेली प्रैक्टिस, मतलब जिस खूबसूरती से आप एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो, द कामनेस दैट यू आर होल्डिंग, इट्स ब्यूटीफुल. तो इसके लिए तो आप ज़रूर कुछ ना कुछ प्रैक्टिस करती होंगी अपनी डेली लाइफ में. तो इस पे हमें थोड़ा सा एनलाइटन कीजिए कि आपकी डेली प्रैक्टिस रोज की क्या होती है खुद के लिए, जो सिर्फ आप अपने लिए करते हैं.
मेरे लिए. So for a very long time, what I've been doing is I activate my body with some exercises, movement from the toe to the top of my head to feel certain movements, clockwise and anti-clockwise. So what it does is it helps me feel my body and bring back the warmth back. So I start feeling like one piece. Followed by that, I do yoga, yogasanas. Sometimes Surya Namaskara, sometimes an extended version which could last me up to 35 minutes to 40 minutes. Followed by pranayama,
Okay.
which brings the ayama dimension of the breath, and it really puts me onto a different sense of receptivity for my next practice, which is mantras.
Okay.
So I do my mantra every single day.
वेरी नाइस. सो भाई, ये जाते जाते तो पहले मुझे आपसे ना ये मैं मिस नहीं कर सकती हूँ
जी.
कि आपका फेवरेट, कोई फेवरेट तो नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि आप सारे मंत्र ही शायद फेवरेट होंगे, बट कुछ अगर आप सुना सकते हैं हमें
Mantra.
हाँ, 2 लाइन कोई भी, जो भी आपको पसंद हो.
Okay. So a mantra is different from stotra.
Yeah.
Right? So a mantra which belongs to the universe, which is having absolutely no problem for anybody to recite, is Om Namah Shivaya. And why? Is because it is actually Shat Chakra activation. Every letter activates an energetic of some part of our body.
Beautiful.
So a deeper interrogation into that is in my practices and how I guide that. But it's something that you can start with anywhere, anytime. With devotion, and mantra will teach you everything.
थैंक यू सो मच. मयूर जी, बहुत मुझे आज फील हो रहा है कि हमारे शो का टाइम जो बहुत ही कम है, क्योंकि काश ये 1-2 घंटे और चलता, क्योंकि मैं बड़ा ही मुझे मज़ा आ रहा है.
थैंक यू.
और या आई एम अनेबल टू स्टॉप माई सेल्फ कि अभी हो गया है टाइम, या इतना ही टाइम है हमारे पास. तो आज बहुत महसूस हो रहा है कि टाइम बहुत कम है, बिकॉज आई रियली वांट टू हियर मोर एंड टॉक मोर अबाउट. वो हम ऑफ कैमरा कर लेंगे, चलो कोई बात नहीं है. ठीक है. तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका. आप आए हमारे शो में, एंड द नॉलेज दैट यू हैव गिवन अस, it's priceless. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking the right kind of questions and such beautiful receptivity and energy in yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
तो ये थी हमारे साथ मयूरी जी. जैसे कि शुरुआत में मैंने बताया था कि स्पिरिचुअलिटी जो हमने बनाया हुआ है कि स्पिरिचुअलिटी अलग से आपको कुछ बनना पड़ेगा, या अलग से आपका लाइफ में एक टाइम आएगा जहाँ से आप शुरू करेंगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. जितना आपने इनसे सुना, और जैसे ही मैंने शुरुआत में कहा था कि अलग से ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है, आपकी वो साइमल्टेनियसली जर्नी चलती रहती है, बट कुछ लोग कॉन्शियस होते हैं। ये बातचीत का पूरा अगर आपने नहीं ध्यान से सुना है तो जैसे मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि जाइए रिवाइंड कीजिए और फिर से सुनिए और मेक मोस्ट आउट ऑफ ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट यू हैव गॉट। और अगर आप इनसे डायरेक्टली इन टच होना चाहते हैं तो हमारे डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जाइए, इनका वेबसाइट देखिए, इनसे बातचीत करना चाहते हैं, इनका इंस्टाग्राम आईडी दे देंगे हम आपको हमारे डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में। एंड या मेक द मोस्ट आउट ऑफ इट। थैंक यू सो मच।